Hello everybody, SGTSolj here, and we're back with another Break and Rust, and today we are revisiting Joeypip's quadruple stacked walls, or doors, and you guys have been asking me in the comment section of this previous video, the one that we just put up, if I would actually build a base using this whole principle of quadruple stacking your doors or walls. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try, and lo and behold, I actually did it. Now this is going to be a bit of a longer video. I tried to break down this build as much as I could in different layers to show you guys so it's as easy as possible to understand. However, if there are still some confusing things, please let me know in the comment section below and I will do my best in order to try to explain it, or hopefully you guys are able to pause certain sections of the video and figure it out for yourself. So starting off, we have the quadruple stacked doors. Just like the last video, we're going to start off with that, and just like the last video, we also are using a sheet metal square for our centerpiece. That's where we started from. So this is phase one. Get this done. I'll look up like this. You guys can see exactly what it looks like. So pause here if you need to get an idea of what you need to do. Step number 2 is going to be to build 4 doors on the other side of the square, opposite of the first set. And after that, all you're going to do is basically just build around it with squares and triangles until you get it to look somewhat like this. Now, the easiest way that I got it to work was, of course, you have to be in stone. The twig triangles down here will not overlap unless they're stone. If they're left as twig, they won't go. Also, the way that I did it, I finished up both of the 4 stacked walls first and then built the honeycombing around. Over here in the middle, there's going to be this little gap. Honestly, I felt that it was best to have the gap off-centered. You don't want it to be direct in the center here because it's easiest for raiders to look straight in. If you have it over here to the side, it's a little bit harder because they're going to be stuck looking against the side of the wall like this, and it's going to end up being a lot more difficult. So also, I put my tool cupboard right there in one of those triangles. You could put it in either one of these 4. However, I do not recommend putting it anywhere else because 1, you definitely don't want it in your honeycombing. And 2, if you put it on the ground, that is one less wall that's actually going to be protecting it. So, best case scenario, just put it in the center. If you want to, there's not going to be enough room, but I honestly just recommend those 4 triangles. So, pick whichever one you want. So I'm going to fly up a little bit like this so you guys can get a better aerial view. Feel free to pause at this point if you need to do any building work of your own. Next, we're moving on to phase 3, and you'll get a much better idea of what this base is going to look like now that the walls are up. As you can see, there's a lot of overlapping walls in this place. However, it's really not all that complex and not very complicated. Of course, you have the 4 doors, but we've also added 3 additional doors past that. The way that I have it currently set up, in order to get to the center foundation, which is currently sheet metal, it will take you 12 C4. That is 12 C4 from either door, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 12 C4 going through all the side walls, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that being said, if they happen to pick the right direction and pick the correct triangle that your tool cupboard is in, it may end up being less C4 involved for the raid because your tool cupboard is there on the bottom. However, they have a 1 in 4 chance. You have a 25% chance of actually defending it. And honestly, once they're inside of your center, they're going to be able to find it because if I drop down here, we have a door on there. You need a door to access your main tool cupboard because if you have anyone that joins your group or you need to wipe your tool cupboard authorization, you're going to need to be able to access it. So you don't want to bury it in walls. If they get to this point, they're going to get to your tool cupboard. However, if they do get to this point, it's going to take them a lot of C4. So I'm going to fly up here like this to give you guys a better idea of what that looks like. Please feel free to fill all the walls in to the best of your ability. Some of them are facing different directions, such as these triangles here. It all just depends on how you want to do it. With this one, you got 2 triangles back to back. You can face that wall any direction you want, either way. I decided this way because that's just the way that I did it. Further up here on the front, it's the same thing. I felt like this front wall here would receive a lot higher chance of getting raided or blown apart than these 2 side walls because, well, no one's going to blow the side walls. They know what triangle foundations look like, right? And lastly, going around to this other side here, as you can see, there is a gap still there. So if we were to blow through this wall, we would be able to technically see through the gap. It really wouldn't do you much good as a raider. However, as we have the height advantage, you can see that it's pretty much empty in there. But going through there, they're going to have to go through those 3 walls at the very least before they're able to start hitting these other walls. So, fly up one more time, pause here if you need to, and continue to build. Now for this next build, I went up not only 1 level, So we have a second level now, but I also put floors on top of that second level, as you can see here. Now I cut a few steps out because I didn't want to have this video be too long and have too many steps going back and forth. Also because of the fact that I kind of ran out of space. It's very hard to find enough flat area to build this size of a base. So basically from here, you're gonna have everything be roofed off except for this centerpiece. So if you look up, you can kind of see you got three walls and then 2 side walls. Basically the center there. And then of course you've got your shaft in the center with your ladder hatches and everything else. This is what gets really, really interesting here, is the honeycombing on the side of these. Because of the way those triangles stick out, which, let me go back over here. Because of these triangles here, you're actually able to add an extra floor that is buildable with walls. And it creates this overlapping wall scheme that actually works really well when it comes to raiding, because it's just more walls for the rockets to absorb. Now, the rocketing of this base is going to happen in a different video. I'm not going to be blowing anything up today. So if you guys have any suggestions on how this could be raided with rockets, going through these walls or anywhere else, I'd love to hear them in the comment section below. Now, you might notice I have a tool cupboard up here on the 3rd floor. That's because that's where your primary cupboard needs to be. By putting a tool cupboard up here, we're actually able to go back down to the 1st level, and you'll notice this tool cupboard's missing because you need to put it back in. You bust the first tool cupboard on the 1st level. Oops, sorry about the flying. You bust this one on the 1st level. You go up to the 3rd level, and you put that one in right there. So basically from here, in order to do this upper cap area, I kind of designed these window shooting points myself. I thought, you know what could we do that is not only somewhat protected, but also gives a lot of visual advantage. So I designed these. Land a little bit. It's a little different than what you would normally expect because of the wall gaps. And that's actually not supposed to be there. There we go. The doors sit kind of flush with one of the overlapping walls, and then there's these gaps in the front near the windows. I actually kind of like that because I feel like if you're trying to creep around or you're trying to shoot raid towers, they're not going to be expecting you shooting from these gaps here. They're going to expect you to open these windows. And you may end up surprising some people from this. Also, the roof on top of here, I thought it looked nice. You could do it either way, either connected to the ladder hatch frame or connected to the walls in front. But I figured, you know what? Let's make it a little bit nice, kind of artsy. From here, it's pretty much it. Oh, and one thing I got to remind you guys. When you're building this layer here, you have to put the floors in first because you can't stack all these walls underneath because they're not actually walls. Some of these walls are free floating, like on this floor right here. They don't go all the way down to the bottom. It's just a free floating wall that has to be put into place after the floor is above it. Otherwise, it won't let you place the floors. So, for example, here we got all these walls in. If I go to place a triangle, it'll let me place a triangle over these triangles here that are already kind of pre-shaped. But if I want to add one to the outside, like it is on that side over there, attached to the outside wall, it's not going to let me do it. Because these walls are trying to get the attention of the triangle floor that you're trying to put on. So it's pretty common knowledge at this point in the game. People know how to overlap walls and stick floors on top of them and whatnot. So I kind of took a lot of the principles from building that I've done in previous videos and kind of rolled it into this build and kind of had fun with it. So I'm going to fly up above this section here so you kind of get an idea of how to build it. I know it's not very well shown, but hopefully you guys will kind of get the idea and piece it together yourselves. At this point, we've added another layer on top of the previous one, so now our smaller section of the base actually has 2 layers going up, and we also created another section of ladder hatch that goes above the old one here. And inside of here we have, check it out, our 4-stack doors again. Now, just like the previous floor, you need to make sure you have the floors up first before you put any of the walls in here because they're not going to overlap very well. You're not going to be able to put the walls up and then the floors because we all know it doesn't work that way. So this is what you can expect to see on the inside. Going through this wall here, there's a lot of overlapping walls for rockets to hit, and a lot of damage is going to be soaked up inside of here. So once you're in here, I'll give you an idea of what it looks like. We have one wall there, one there, 2 here, 1 there. Oop. Give it. 1 there. See how that one didn't go as blue because they're too close together? You're not going to be able to overlap those. 1 here. I think there's one there, and one there, and one there. That's a lot of overlapping walls. However, if they end up taking the floor out that these walls are sitting on for the free-floating ones, they will more than likely crumble. There's nothing supporting them at that point, but you're still going to have a lot of the walls that are going all the way to the ground, so you should be relatively safe. From here, you also add these walls in, add these door frames, like so. Of course, I'd be standing on a ladder hatch right now. I see that wall, and you can see it's really tight. This is the one thing that I don't really like about this base, and it kind of made me start wanting to give up on the design. However, I knew you guys wanted something, so I decided to push through it. I don't really like how tight it is for the size of the base. But after that, pretty much you can do whatever you want with the top. Now for me, I put another ladder hatch so I could climb up to the top here and use this usable space. But that being said, there's this huge gap here in the center. There isn't really much you can do about it. There's gonna be cracks somewhere because of the way that the walls are alternating and the way that the foundations are spaced apart. So I decided to put it in the center. Why? That's just the way that I did it. If you guys come up with a better way to do it, by all means go ahead. However, I think it's coming out pretty well. We have one more design to look at, and that is the final product, and I'm going to go through it with you and show you kind of everything that's going on with the inside. So check this out. This will give you an idea of what you could expect to be looking at. Hopefully at this point of the build you're already here, and if need be, just feel free to pause. Or I'm just going to go around in a circle like this so you can kind of get a bird's eye view, because that's helpful too. So pause anywhere in here that you need to pause. Anywhere in here. Good? Alright. Now this is it. This is the final build. This is what I will hopefully be finding some of my friends to rocket and blow up and see if they can raid it. Of course, they're going to be watching the video, so they're going to know the secrets of the base. Well, some of the secrets. And they're probably going to be watching it and thinking, okay, so how would I raid this? How could I make this a cheaper raid? So it may or may not work out in my favor as the YouTuber, but that being said, I still think it's pretty tough. I know to get to the center, it's going to be 12 C4 no matter what. Now, if you're using rockets, it might be a little bit different because of the conversion for resources from rockets to C4. It may be cheaper, it may be more expensive. It just depends on where you're shooting your rockets and where it's splashing at. But this is the final base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop down to the ground, and I dropped to the wrong side. Because of the way the ground is over here, that side was really high. We'll go to this other side over there. We have one door there. That is 2 C4. 4 C4 for this door. And this is the quadruple stack door part here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is our center shaft now. See it? The sheet metal foundation there? Yeah, that's our center shaft. 6 doors to get in through there. Here's our very first tool cupboard. The one that we're eventually going to break after we place the 3rd level tool cupboard. We'll come back down and replace this one again. So we have 2 cupboards in our base. Close all those doors. No, let me out. The chest I put here, you could put one there if you need help with the jump. Some people do, some people don't. Completely up to you. It is also nice having a drop-off chest, but you don't have to put it in the center here. You can put it against that far wall. Just make sure you can get in and out of all the doors. So jump it up. We're going to climb up our ladder now. And this is the first part of... Whoa! I fell. Let me up. Let me up. Stand on the box. Let me up. Oh, it's embarrassing. It's a lot easier when I have the HUD on. Okay. So, this is the first part. And as you can see, there's all small chests. You really can't fit too much up here. Bunch of small chests, a couple small furnaces. That's really all you need. But we have our 3rd level tool cupboard up here as well. This is going to be our master. Anyone accesses this, they're going to be able to build anywhere in the base, except for below it, of course. But any tool cupboards that are placed beneath this one, when they get up to the 3rd level, they'll no longer be able to build anymore because this one was placed first. So from here, you can see we got 2 small furnaces, a bunch of chests. Pretty standard, right? Go up one more level. We have a little bit larger of a loot room. A couple large boxes, a couple small boxes. It's still a really small loot room considering the size of this base and the amount of C4 it's going to take to get in here. The amount of resources it's going to take to build this base, it's probably going to be too small for you. That being said, you can continue to move up, which we have our 4 doors here. Oh, there we go. I'm lagging a little bit. Now you can go down this ladder here, and this brings you to that shooting room I was telling you about before. And let me get a bolt here. Oh, I'm full. Hold on. There we go. So now we got a bolt, right? So we can be shooting out this window here. Ooh, you know, this little gap. Anyone that's out there in a raid tower, pow, bang. Got him. Now let's say we don't want to shoot out that. We need to shoot out in front of us here. Not only does our window open up that we can see down there in the ground, but this little wooden hatch here actually covers up this gap a little tiny bit, which could actually give you a little bit of cover. Maybe enough cover to necessarily survive, maybe not, but it does give you something. So let's say we're shooting at that base over there. Maybe I don't want to be shooting through the window here. So we'll close that. We'll just kind of peek, 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 peek. Bam, got it. Close that back up. Hey, close that back up. Now it's a little bit harder for him to see me. Gap's a little bit smaller, right? So I can just sit there and move like this. Shoot, shoot, etc., etc., etc. So going back up now, it's the same on the other side, so we're not going to show both. I'll close this. We go up. This takes us to the roof level, right? Not only the roof level, but it also takes us to that open area where I said you could pretty much do whatever you want with. Notice how this is that gap I was telling you guys about? I took the door frames, like so, and I actually put them over that gap so that at the very top of the base, the gap is a lot less noticeable. These door frames should absorb the damage from any rockets. They'll break easily, but they'll also not give the fact that there's a gap there away, hopefully. Now, like I said, I haven't tested this build yet, and I don't believe I forgot anything in the explanation. Oh, I guess I forgot this. These window rooms also have side doors. So if you come down here and you need to run out on the balcony, let's say you need to shoot someone, you can do that. You can run over here. Oh, bang, bang, bang. Run out this way. Oh, I gotta get in. I got shot. Oh, there's 2 doors on both sides. So it doesn't matter which way you go, you're still gonna be able to not only get back into the loot room, but necessarily just into the base in general, into some kind of protection. So let me close these now. We're done looking at that. And then back on this side here, same exact thing. You can pretty much get a good eye view of everything. You're not too high up to the point to where you may be too far away from your target, but you're also to the point where you're kind of low to the ground that if you have to make a quick escape, you can slide down the wall. See? Didn't even break my legs. So that's pretty much it for this base. It's a little big. It's definitely not a solo base. This might be a small group base, maybe like 2 people, 3 people tops. The loot room is really the major flaw for this design because it's really, really small. Now you could potentially put some stuff at the top here. However, that makes it really, really vulnerable to rockets because there isn't a whole lot going on up there. You could continue the side honeycombing all the way up around that top little dome there. However, if I show it to you, which I gotta turn the HUD back on, this is at 16% stability. You're not going to be able to get it to go very much higher than this, simply because of the way that the walls are and the different gaps and foundations, etc., etc., etc. So anyway, I like the build. I think it's fun. The fact that it has the quadruple doors in it makes it really tough going through the doors. The way that the overlapping triangles down at the bottom work, it makes it really tough to go through the sides. However, I think the biggest weakness might be rockets, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what my friends can do once I get them into the server and blowing it up. So anyway, SGTSolj, and we're looking at what I'm calling the 12C4 quadruple door stack base, and we'll see you in the next Break and Rust video. Bye-bye! Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you want to see more great content from Private Astro or myself, please hit that subscribe button and click on any of the videos above. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next SGTSolj or Private Astro video. Bye-bye!